Hello, how are you? I'm a little tired and sleepy. Sit down, please. I'd like to speak English today too, to improve my speaking skill. Let's get it started. Do you like a zoo? Do you like zoo? Have you ever been to the zoo? Have you ever been to Ueno Zoo? When I went to Ueno Zoo for the first time, I was surprised at the spaciousness. It is so huge. So I got tired of walking, although I wanted to see more. Do you like alligator? Have you seen a real 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 alligator? Alligator. In zoo. Alligator. Have you seen a real alligator? Have you seen a real alligator? Have you seen a real alligator? Alligator. Have you seen a real alligator in a zoo? Have you seen a real alligator in a zoo? Alligator. Have you seen a real alligator? Real. Have you seen a real alligator in a zoo? Have you seen a real alligator in a zoo? Have you seen a real alligator? Real alligator in the zoo. Is there alligator in the river? Where do usually alligators live? Where do usually alligators live? I'd like to know where alligators usually live. Is the river safe to swim in? Is the river safe enough to swim in? Is the river safe to swim in? Swim in. Is the river safe to swim in? Is the river safe to swim in? Yes. Which is your animal? Tiger or lion? Or neither of them? My favorite animal is tiger. What do you think of rhino? Do you like rhino? Can I see a rhino in the zoo? Can I see the rhino in the zoo? Can I see the rhino in the zoo? Rhino. Can I see the rhino? Can I see rhino? Can I see rhinos in the zoo? Can I see a rhino? Can I see a rhino? Can I see rhinos in the zoo? 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 Do you like rhinos? Can I see rhinos in the zoo? Can I see rhinos in the zoo? Can I see rhinos in the zoo? Where do rhinos live usually? Where do rhinos usually live? 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 Usually live. Where do rhinos usually live? Where do rhinos usually live? Do you know where rhinos usually live? Do you know where the rhinos usually live? I saw a couple of orangutans in the zoo. Orangutan, 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 orangutan. I saw some orangutans in the zoo. Do you like orangutans? Orangutans, orangutan, 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 orangutan. Do you like orangutans? Can I see orangutans in the zoo? Can I see orangutans in the zoo? Orangutan. Can I see orangutan eating food? Can I see orangutan eating food? Unfortunately, when I visited the zoo, it was after finishing the dishes. After the orangutans ate the food. Unfortunately, when I visited the zoo, it was after the orangutans finished eating food. Orangutan, orangutan, orangutan. When I visited the zoo, the orangutans finished eating food. Orangutan, orangutan. The workers are logging the forest for construction. Many trees were logged. Many trees are being logged. Many trees have been logged. Many trees have been logged for constructions, for other reasons, for other purposes. Many trees have been logged. Many trees have been logged. Logged. Many trees have been 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 logged. What do you think of logging? What do you think of logging? What do you think of logging? What are they logging? It is prohibited to log the forest. The forest. Logging the forest is prohibited because the forest is regarded as sacred. It is prohibited to log the trees in the mountain because the mountain is regarded as sacred. The mountain is regarded as sacred. So, logging trees in the mountain is prohibited, forbidden. What are they logging? Logging trees, logging trees. Logging trees in the mountain is prohibited. Logging trees in the mountain is prohibited. Logging trees in the mountain is prohibited. I'm sorry, I couldn't log into my account. Something is wrong. Something is going wrong with my computer or the site. Isn't it under maintenance? Isn't the site under maintenance? Could you look it over? Could you go it over? Could you look it over? Could you check it, please? Okay. I cannot log into my account. Something is going wrong. Something is wrong. There's something wrong with my computer or the site. Isn't the site under maintenance? Isn't the site under maintenance? Isn't the site? Isn't the site? Isn't the site? Isn't the site under maintenance? Isn't the site under maintenance? Logging is prohibited in this mountain. Logging used to be prohibited. Logging was accepted in the mountain in the past, but now it is prohibited. Logging used to be legal in the island, but now it is prohibited. To protect the nature and see the trees. Logging in the mountain is prohibited. Logging is prohibited in the mountain, in the island. Logging is prohibited, forbidden in the mountain. Logging is prohibited in the mountain. Logging in the mountain is prohibited. Logging is prohibited in the mountain. Logging is prohibited in the mountain. Logging is forbidden in the mountain. Logging can be dangerous. Logging is dangerous, so please be careful. Some workers are working on the logging in the mountain. The logs will be used for construction. The logs will be used for construction. The logs will be used for construction. And some people are logging the trees in the mountain. I saw some people logging the trees. I saw some people logging the trees. I saw some people logging the trees. Logging the trees. I saw some people logging the trees. I'd like to log my tree in my house, but it's too big to cut it down myself, so I will ask someone specialist. I'd like to cut down on a tree in my house, but it is too big for me to cut it down, for me to log it. So I will ask someone specialist. Okay. I'd like to log a couple of trees in my house, but they are too big for me to log them. So I will ask some specialist. I'd like to log some of my trees in my garden. I'd like to log a couple of logs. I'd like to log a couple of trees in my garden, but they are too big for me to log them. I saw some people logging trees in the mountain. Logging will affect the environment. Logging too much will affect the environment. Logging too much will affect the environment. Logging too much will have no effect on the environment, ecosystem, ecology. I saw some workers logging trees in the mountain. I saw some workers logging trees in the mountain. I saw some workers logging trees in the mountain. Logging trees in this mountain is prohibited because the mountain is regarded as sacred. Logging trees in this mountain is prohibited. Forbidden. Logging in this mountain is prohibited. Logging trees in this mountain is prohibited. I don't want my habitat to be intruded on, destroyed, ruined. So I want to keep my peace in my room. I don't want anyone to destroy my habitat. I don't want anyone to destroy my habitat. Habitats under extinction for some rare animals. Habitat of some animals are under extinction. Habitats should be protected. Habitats should be preserved. Habitats should be preserved, should be conserved. Habitats should be preserved. Habitats should be protected. Habitat. Destroying the habitats of some animals will affect the environment, ecosystem. Depriving animals of their habitats will affect the environment. Depriving the animals of their habitats will affect the environment. Will have an effect on the environment. Depriving the animals of their habitats will affect the environment. Robbing the animals of their habitats will affect the environment, will have an effect on the environment. Habitats should be protected. Habitat is very important for anyone, any animal, everyone. Habitats should be protected because of less habitats. More animals started to appear in the cities. Due to less habitats, more animals started to come down to the cities. Habitat Habitat is very important to be protected. Habitats should be protected. Habitats of the rare species are protected in the sanctuary. In the sanctuary, you cannot hunt or feed the animals. You can just walk. The habitat of the animal is protected in the sanctuary. The habitat of the animal is protected in the sanctuary. The poacher should be arrested. I saw some people poaching rare species in the area, in the place, in the district, in the region. Poachers should be arrested. Poachers should be arrested. I saw. Do not poach. Do not poach anything. Do not poach. Do not poach animals which are prohibited to hunt, prohibited to poach, prohibited to get. Do not poach animals which are prohibited to get. Poachers should be arrested. Poachers should be arrested. Poachers should be arrested. Poachers should be arrested. Poacher. The poacher was arrested for poaching rare species in the sanctuary. The poacher was arrested for hunting rare species. The poachers were arrested for poaching rare species in the sanctuary. The poachers should be arrested. There must be more poachers than reported in the news. There must be more poachers than reported on the news. There must be more poachers than reported on the news. There must be more poachers than reported on the news. There must be more poachers than reported on the news. The poacher was spotted poaching rare species by the police officer. The man was spotted poaching rare species by the security camera. The man was captured by the security camera poaching rare species. The man was captured in the security camera trying to get the rare species. The man was spotted by the security camera trying to poach rare species. The man was spotted poaching rare species by the cops, by the water guard, by the coast guard, thanks to the regular patrol of the coast guard. The man was arrested for poaching rare animals, rare species. The man was arrested for poaching rare animals, rare species. The man was spotted poaching rare species by the witnesses. The man was found. The man was found poaching rare species. The man was spotted poaching rare species. The man was spotted poaching rare species by many citizens. The man was spotted poaching rare species. Poaching rare species. The man was spotted poaching rare species. The man was spotted poaching rare species by the cops, by the officials, by the police officers. The man was captured in the security camera poaching rare species. The man was captured in the security camera poaching rare species. The man was spotted poaching rare species by the witnesses. The man was captured poaching rare species by police officers, by the Coast Guard. The man was captured in the security camera poaching rare species. The man was captured poaching rare species by the police officers. The man was captured poaching rare species by the police officers. Some people are very vulnerable to criticisms, and me too. I am also vulnerable to criticisms. I am very sensitive to criticisms. I am very vulnerable to criticisms. I am very vulnerable to criticisms. A new species was found today. Again. I think there are much more species not found yet. And I think there are more species not found yet. Innovation will take 5 decades. It took me almost 1 decade to get the qualifications. The budget, the sum for the project is estimated at 1 billion yen. I estimate that the project will cost about 1 billion yen. Some scientists estimate that there are more endangered species yet to be found. Could you estimate the losses by Friday? Could you estimate the losses by Friday? Sure. The typhoon prevented me from going outside. The typhoon prevented the sports meeting from holding. The typhoon prevented the sports meeting from taking place. I hope I can get through the economic crisis. I hope I can get through the economic crisis. The economic crisis. To become an ecologist was my dream. Do you have a friend who is an ecologist? Are you interested in ecology? Ecological movement. Ecology movement. Ecology movement. I came across a group of ecology movement. I came across a parade for ecology movement. I ran into the procession of ecology movement. I came across the procession of ecology movement. I came across the group and the procession of ecology movement. I came across the procession of ecology movement. Ecology movement. The ecology movement was held on the street. I saw the procession of ecology movement. I saw the procession of ecology movement. I came across the procession of ecology movement on the street. I ran into the procession of ecology movement. Are you interested in ecology? When I went to the downtown, I saw the procession of ecology movement. Logging too much will affect on the environment. Logging too much will arouse ecological problems. Ecological problem. Logging too much will cause ecological problems. Logging too much will cause ecological problems. Logging too much will have an effect on the environment. Logging too much will arise ecological problems. Logging too much will arouse ecological problems. Ecological. Logging too much will create ecological problems. Logging too much will create ecological problems. Logging too much will have an effect on the environment. Have a bad effect on the environment. Logging too much will have a bad effect on the environment. Logging too much will arise ecological problems. Ecological. Believe it or not, the light disappeared. The light vanished. Believe it or not, I ate all of the menus on my own. The popularity of anyone will disappear with time. The total price will be 50,000 yuan altogether. The total price I paid was 50,000 yen altogether. It was my fault altogether. It was up to you altogether. It's up to you altogether. It's up to you altogether. It depends on you altogether. It depends on the boss's mood altogether. The number of visitors to the destination is diminishing due to the pandemic. The number of visitors to the museum and the tourist destinations are increasing gradually. Popularity will diminish with time. How can I improve my diminished motivation? I think caffeine will help my motivation. Caffeine will help my diminished motivation. Or moderate exercise will help my diminished motivation. Thanks to a lot of effort of the company, the popularity of the company is recovering gradually from the diminished popularity. Thanks to a lot of advertisement, the products are recovering from diminished popularity. Thanks to a big shopping mall next to the tourist destination, the place is recovering from diminished popularity. Due to the diminished customers to the shop was obliged to close. The shop was obliged to be closed. Due to the diminished customers to the restaurant was forced to be closed. Do you know how to improve my diminished motivation? Do you know how to improve my diminished motivation? Do you know how to improve my diminished motivation? Do you know how to improve my diminished motivation? Hunting was the main duty at that time. Hunting was the main duty and main lifestyle in those days. What are you hunting? Hunting fish and wild animals was the main duty and lifestyle at that time. Hunting fish and wild animals. Hunting fish and wild animals was the main duty of them at that time. How did your job hunting go? How did your job hunting go? Did it go well? How did it go? How did it go? How did it go? How did your job hunting go? How did your job hunting go? His main duty is to hunt wild boars to protect citizens from them. His main duty is to hunt fish, tuna. His main duty is to hunt tuna. He went to the mountain to hunt the wild boar. He went to the mountain in order to hunt the wild boars. He went to the mountain so as to hunt the wild boars. He went to the sea to hunt the abalone, sea urchin. The fisherman is hunting sea urchin. The fisherman is hunting wild sea urchin. The man went to the mountain to hunt wild boars. The man went to the mountain to hunt wild boars. What made her angry remains mystery. What caused the incident remains mystery. What caused the incident remains mystery. What caused the mystery? What caused the incident remains mystery. What caused the accident remains mystery. What caused the incident remains mystery. What caused the incident remains mystery. What caused the incident? What caused the incident? What caused the incident remains mystery. He remains very strong. He remains very strong. My violin remains instinct. Very good condition. Old atmosphere still remains in this region. Ancient atmosphere still remains in this region, in the area. Old atmosphere still remains in the area. Old atmosphere still remains in the area. Old atmosphere still remains in the area. If you want to feel old atmosphere, I recommend you visit I recommend you visit Nara and around Nara Park, where you can enjoy the ancient old atmosphere there. You can also enjoy feeding the deer. You can buy the food for the deer at the stands along the way. Are you interested in remains of ancient times? Are you interested in seeing remains? Seeing remains of ancient times? Are you interested in remains of ancient times? Are you interested in remains of ancient times? Are you interested in remains of ancient times? Ancient times. Are you interested in remains of ancient times? 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 I went to see the remains of ancient Nara. I went to see the remains of ancient Nara. I will spend the remainder of my holidays studying English. I will spend the remainder of my holidays going to Tokyo Disneyland. I will spend the remainder of my holidays idling away. Let's set back the remainder of our budget for a rainy day. I will put aside the remainder of the budget for a rainy day. I will set the remainder aside. I will set the remainder aside. I will put the remainder aside for a rainy day. I will set aside the remainder for a rainy day. We are discussing how we should spend the remainder of the budget. We are discussing how we should use the remainder of the budget. We are discussing what we should spend the remainder for. We are discussing what for we should the remainder of the budget. We are discussing what we should use the remainder for. We are discussing what we should use the remainder of the budget for. We are discussing what we should use spend the remainder of the budget for. We are discussing what we should spend the remainder of the budget for. We are discussing what we should spend the remainder of the budget for. I'd like to spend the remainder of my life pursuing my career. I'd like to spend the remainder of my life doing what I like, of course. I'd like to spend the remainder of my life doing what I like. Let's put aside the remainder of our budget for a rainy day. Let's set aside. Let's set the remainder aside. Let's put the remainder aside for a rainy day. Let's set the remainder aside. Let's put the remainder aside. Let's put the remainder aside. Let's set the remainder aside for a rainy day. Let's put the remainder aside for a rainy day. Let's set the remainder of the budget aside for a rainy day. I will leave the remainder of the pizza for the next day, for tomorrow. I left the remainder of the pizza for the following day. I left a couple of pieces of pizza for my friends. I left the remainder of the pizza for the following day, and I ate them for my breakfast. Breakfast. We are discussing what we should spend the remainder of the budget for. You should make an effort. We should make an effort to achieve something great. We cannot achieve something great without making an effort. We cannot achieve something great without making an effort. I made a lot of efforts to achieve the goals. I made a lot of efforts in order to achieve the goals. I made a lot of efforts so as to achieve some goals. Daily effort is very important to achieve something goal. Daily effort is very important to achieve something goal. Great. Taking a plane to the destination will be effortless, but by going there by bicycle, you can see more beautiful views, although it is more difficult. Going to the destination by plane will be effortless and much easier, but going there by bike, it's more difficult, but you can enjoy seeing the beautiful views. The difficult examination was a piece of cake for him, and he was effortless at all. Passing the examination was a piece of cake for him. He was effortless at all. It was effortless for him. Passing the examination was a piece of cake for him, and it was effortless for him. Entering the university was a piece of cake for him. It was effortless for him. Passing the examination was a piece of cake for him. It was effortless for him. I am determined to study English every day. I am determined to achieve my goals. I am determined to marry her. I am determined to make a living by music. I am determined to make a living by studying. The evidence determined his fraud. The evidence determined his fault. The evidence determined his negligence at work. The evidence determined his crime. 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 The match between person A and person B determined how it was different, how the level was different. The match between person A and person B determined how the level was different. The exam result determined how he didn't study at all. The exam result determined how he didn't study at all. The exam result determined what he didn't study at all. The evidence determined his crime. The evidence determined his crime. The evidence determined the company's negligence. The flaws in the car determined the negligence of the production line. The car accident determined how dangerous drunk driving was. The car accident determined how dangerous drunk driving was. The car accident determined how dangerous drunk driving is. The evidence determined his fraud. The evidence determined his fraud over the 1 decade. His remarks determined his resignation. The evidence determined his crime. The car accident determined how dangerous drunk driving is. The car accident determined how dangerous drunk driving is. The exam result determined what he didn't study at all. The result determined that the black hole really exists. Black holes really exist. The picture determined that black holes really exist. The match will determine that which of them is stronger. The match will determine that I am stronger than him. The match will determine that I am stronger than him. The exam result determined that he didn't study at all. The exam result determined that he didn't study at all. The exam result determined that he didn't study at all. The exam result determined that he didn't study at all. The exam result determined that he hadn't studied at all. I could feel such a strong determination from his expression. I could feel such a strong determination from his expression. He really wanted to win the match. He really wanted to achieve his goal. He really wanted to get over 900 on the TOEIC score. I could feel such a strong determination from his face. The company did its best to make up for the loss of trust. The company did its best with unique ideas to recover from its diminished trust on it. The company did its best to recover from its diminished trust. The company did its best to recover from the loss of trust. His fast running made up for other members' lost time. His fast running made up for the other members' loss of time. I don't want to lose you. I don't want to lose you. If you don't want to lose your money, please be with your belongings with you all the time. Otherwise, you will lose it. You might lose it. You may lose it. You could lose it. You can lose it. I lost my wallet when I was a university student, so I have the lessons taught in the past. I learned my lesson by folding my wallet. Without lessons, we will not grow. Without lessons, we will not grow. Thanks to the lessons we will be taught, we can grow. Thanks to the lessons we will be taught, we can grow. Thanks to the lessons we will be taught, we can grow. I taught a lesson. Learn a lesson. Learn a lesson. I learned a lesson. I learned a lesson. I learned a lesson. I learned many lessons and grew up. Our team lost the game, but we did our best, so our coach praised us for the good play. Our team lost to the team at the baseball game, but our coach praised us for the good play because we did our best. Due to the pandemic, almost 90% of the tourists were lost in the tourist destination. Due to the pandemic, 90% of the incomes were lost in the tourist destination. I might be the uniquest person in the world. Yakusugi is unique to Yakushima Island. Yakusugi or Yakushida trees are unique to Yakushima Island. My ideas are always unique and very different from others. My ideas are always unique. The house is designed uniquely. The house is designed uniquely. by the state-of-the-art artist, by the cutting-edge artist. The house was designed so uniquely by the cutting-edge artist, by state-of-the-art with cutting-edge technique, with state-of-the-art techniques, with state-of-the-art techniques, with cutting edge of techniques, cutting edge techniques. I usually go my own way, uniquely. I usually go my own way, uniquely. Uniqueness of each individual is very important, and such uniqueness should be protected. Uniqueness might lead to breakthrough in any field, so uniqueness must be protected and cherished. Uniqueness of each individual should be cherished. Uniqueness of each individual should be cherished, because uniqueness might lead to a breakthrough in any field. Uniqueness might lead to breakthrough in any field. So uniqueness should be protected and cherished. Uniqueness should be cherished. Uniqueness should be cherished. Enka has a distinctive melody. Enka has a distinctive melody. Everyone has its own distinctive expression or personality. Everyone has their own distinctive personality. Everyone has their own distinctive personality. Enka has a distinctive melody. Distinctive melody. Distinctive. I might be the most distinctive person in the world. I may be the most distinctive person in the world. I am more distinctive than any other person in the class. I am more distinctive than any other student in the class. I am more distinctive than any other student in the class. There are many distinctive things in Japan. The taste of sushi might be distinctive for some people. The taste of sushi might be distinctive for some people. Holidays and working are distinct. Holidays and working are regarded as distinct, but for me, they must be same. There is no border between holidays and working. Maybe in the past they might be thought differently, but for me, maybe, and in the future, the border will cross and closer and closer, and in the end, will holidays and working might be the same in the future. Become same in the future. Will become same in the future. I don't know. No one can tell the future. There is no telling what will happen in the future. There is no predicting what will happen in the future. So I'm not sure. There was a distinct difference between person A and person B. There was distinct difference between person A and person B. There was a distinct decrease in population. There is a distinct decrease in population in Japan. There is a distinct decrease in population in Japan. I have a distinct will to study English every day. I have a distinct reason why I study English. I have a distinct reason. Not many people have a distinct reason why they work for the company. Not many people have a distinct reason why they work for the company. It is distinct that everyone wants to be rich. It is distinct that everyone wants to be rich. Sausage and ham are distinct. French fries and fried potatoes 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 are distinct. The dialects in Osaka are distinct from that in Hiroshima. The pronunciation spoken in Osaka and Tokyo are distinct. The pronunciation of the language spoken in Osaka and Tokyo are distinct. Gold and silver are distinct. Gold and silver are distinct. Gold and silver are distinct. Men and women are distinct. Men and women are distinct. Gold and silver are distinct. His sadness was distinct from his expression. Her sadness was distinct from her expression on her face. Her sorrow was distinct from her expression on her face. Silver and gold are distinct. First and the second are distinct. First and second are distinct. His talent is distinct. His talent at playing the piano is distinct. His talent at playing the piano was distinct since he was 3 years old. Gold and silver are distinct. Gold and silver are distinct. His wind was distinct from scratch. The weather forecast for tomorrow is distinct. Maybe. His success was distinct from the beginning. Do you dare to confront your boss distinctly? Do you dare to contradict your boss distinctly? Do you dare to turn down the offer from your boss distinctly? I rejected the offer distinctly in front of him. I declined the offer in front of him distinctly. I rejected the offer in front of him distinctly. 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 I reject the offer. Reject the offer. I reject the offer. I rejected the offer. I rejected the offer. I rejected the offer. I rejected the offer. Distinctly. I still remember the memories distinctly. I still remember the traumatic memories distinctly. I still remember when I passed examination distinctly. I still remember the memories of my childhood distinctly. Please pronounce distinctly, articulately, okay? Distinctly, 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 distinctly. My proposal was rejected distinctly. My proposal was turned down distinctly, 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 distinctly. I expressed my feelings to her distinctly. I expressed my feelings to her distinctly. I told my feelings to her distinctly. I proposed to her distinctly. I explained that to her distinctly. I spoke distinctly. The rules are easy and written on the board distinctly. The rules are written on the board distinctly. What you cannot do are written on the board distinctly. 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 You should be able to distinguish vice from virtue. You have to be able to distinguish vice from virtue. Can you distinguish me from my twin brother? Can you distinguish copied brand goods from authentic goods, authentic ones? Can you distinguish authentic brand goods from copied ones? Distinction is important sometimes. The garbage cans are divided into the categories. So please dispose of your trash according to the distinction. Please dispose of your garbages according to the distinction. Categories. According to the category. Please dispose of your trash according to the distinction. This can, the blue can is for burnable, and the red one is for non-burnable, and the yellow one is for plastic. Okay? Distinction. You should know the distinction between holidays and working. You should know the distinction between holidays and working. You have to know the distinction between having fun with coworkers and working in the workplace. There is a distinction. Distinction. There are many distinctions in the company. There are many distinctions in the bookshelves, so that we can find the particular book easily. The books are divided into many categories, and there are many distinctions. There are many distinctions in the rule. There are many distinctions in the production. There are many distinctions in the production. Distinction. 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 We all have to know the distinction between vice and virtue. We all should know the distinction between vice and virtue. We all have to know between the vice and the virtue. I feel like exotic food. I feel like eating exotic food today, so I will go to the Indian restaurant tonight. I feel like eating exotic food tonight, so I will go to the Indian restaurant tonight. The exotic species are having an effect on the ecosystem of the lake. The exotic species are having bad effect on the ecosystem in the lake. Exotic species are having bad effect on the ecosystem of the forest. And since I wanted to feel exotic atmosphere, I went to Eigamura in Kyoto to enjoy the atmosphere of Edo period. To enjoy the exotic atmosphere, I went to Universal Studios Japan to feel the atmosphere of Hollywood movies. Since I felt like eating exotic food, I went to the Indian restaurant. The exotic species having a bad effect on the ecosystem in the lake. Exotic species are having bad effect on the ecosystem of the lake. The exotic species are having bad effect on the ecosystem of the lake. The exotic species are having bad effect on the ecosystem of the lake. The exotic species are having bad effect on the ecosystem of the lake. The exotic species are having bad effect on the ecosystem of the lake. The exotic species are having bad effect on the ecosystem of the forest. I had an urgent call from my boss and I was obliged to go to workplace in the middle of the midnight yesterday. The hospital got an urgent call from the patient and an ambulance was called in. We got an urgent order from our customers, so we were obliged to work overtime at the last moment. We had urgent orders from the customers, so we were obliged to work overtime. Is it really urgent to go on a vacation now, tomorrow? It was such an urgent that I forgot many belongings to the hospital. It was urgent, so I forgot many important belongings to the hospital. I'd like to avoid from urgency. I'd like to avoid from urgency. I'd like to avoid urgency. So I take care of myself and I take care of everything. The steps outside will be used only for urgency. The steps outside will be used for emergency and urgency. Extra ambulances were preserved for urgency in preparation for urgency. Extra ambulances and medical equipment were set up in preparation of emergency and urgency. In preparation of urgency. In preparation for urgency. In preparation for urgency. I went to the workplace urgently because I was called in. Because the company got urgent orders from the customers. Big purchase. The ambulance was called in urgently because the car accident happened on the road. The student started to study urgently because he didn't study at all since then. The student started to study so hard urgently because he hadn't studied at all since then. Until then. The student started to study urgently so hard because he hadn't studied at all until then. The press conference was held urgently. The press conference was held urgently. Please do not urge me to participate in the party. I don't like to be urged to take part in the party after work. I don't like to be urged to take part in the party after work, especially. I don't wanna be urged. I don't wanna be urged to participate in a party. I'm not a party person, so I don't like to be urged to take part in a party. Although it was in the middle of the midnight, I got up and went to work to help my coworkers. Although it was expensive, I bought the watch for my girlfriend. Exhausted as I was, I got up and went to work with coffee. So hard as I studied, I failed the examination. I flunked the examination. So hard as I studied, I flunked mathematics. I flunked mathematics. I flunked math. So hard as I tried, I couldn't achieve my goal. So hard as I tried, I couldn't get her. So fast as I ran, I couldn't keep up with him. So fast as I ran, I couldn't keep up with him. I couldn't keep pace with him. So much as I ate, I couldn't get fat. So much as I ate, I couldn't get fat. I think this is my body type. I cannot get fat. Whenever I ask people of how to get fat, they say it's easy, just eat. But in case of me, I cannot get fat by eating. So tired as I was, I studied after eating dinner. So heavily as it was raining, I went outside for shopping. So heavily as it was raining, the festival was held. The festival took place. So heavily as it was raining, the festival took place. So close as the typhoon was approaching, the festival was held. The festival was held. The festival took place. So hard as I studied, I couldn't pass the examination. As a self-made man put it, stacking up a small effort is the only way to achieving something great. As the locals put it, we should avoid taking the route. It will be dangerous. As the locals put it, we should try the restaurant. You should take the medicine as you were directed by your doctor. You should take the medicine as you were told by your doctor. You should take the medicine as you were told to do so by your doctor. You should take the medicine as you were advised by your doctor. The doctor ordered the patient that he should take the medicine after dinner. I recommend that you should stay in the hotel the day before the examination, near the examination venue. I cannot behave as everyone else does. I don't want to behave as everyone else. I go my own way. I haven't done as everyone else. I don't wanna do as everyone else does. I don't wanna do as everyone else does. I haven't done anything as everyone else does. The hospital was smelly of cigarette as it was rumored by the comment. As it was rumored. The hospital was smelly of cigarette as it was rumored so. The restaurant was so great as it was reputed well. The restaurant was very good as I was told so. The restaurant was very good as I was recommended so. I practiced playing the violin as I was told by my teacher. You should practice and do as you were told to do so, otherwise you will not improve. You should take the medicine as you were told by your doctor. You must take the medicine as you were told by your doctor. I usually appeal to effort to achieve something goal. I usually appeal to my effort to achieve something great. I usually appeal to my own effort in order to achieve something. I usually appeal to my own effort so as to achieve something great. The plaintiff appealed the case after his lose at the court. The plaintiff appealed the case after losing the court. The plaintiff appealed the case after losing the case. The plaintiff appealed the case. The plaintiff appealed the case. The plaintiff appealed the case after losing the court. After losing the case. After losing the trial. The plaintiff appealed the case. The accused appealed the case after losing the trial. The accused. The defender appealed the case after losing the court trial case. Have you appealed the case? Have you appealed the case? I don't want to appeal the case, or I don't want to fight with anyone in the court. I usually appeal to my own effort in order to achieve something great, in order to achieve something, so as to achieve something. The clothes were so appealing that I couldn't resist buying it. The clothes were so attractive, so I couldn't resist buying them. She was so appealing that I fell in love with her at a glance, at first sight. She was so appealing that I fell in love with her at a glance, at first sight. The remains have to be preserved from generation to generation. The technique of Japanese martial arts should be handed down and preserved from generation to generation. Wine bottles are preserved in the basement. The sanctuary has been preserved since long time ago. Preservation can be very difficult. The wine will last for a long time with a good preservation in a good environment. Wine will last for a long time in a good condition of preservation. How long does the object last depends on the preservation, how well it is preserved. How long it lasts depends on how long it lasts depends on how well it is preserved. If we want to make it last long, preservation is very important. If we want to keep it so long, the preservation is the key. I bought some preservable food for a rainy day. I bought much of preservable food for the next week because it has been raining over the next week. I don't want to be bothered by going for shop in the rain. Is the food preservable? I bought some preservable food such as frozen French fries and so on. Preservable. Is the food preservable? Is the food preservable? Many food are preservable by freezing them. Many food are preservable by freezing them. Can I is the food preservable? Is the food preservable by freezing them? 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 Preservable, 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 preservable. Is the food preservable? Is the food preservable? Is the food preservable? Is the food preservable? Yes, I think the food is preservable by freezing them. Can I freeze them to make it last long? To make it last long. To make it last long. To make it last long. I bought some preservable food such as French fries and so on. Frozen French fries. Some food can be preservable. Some food are preservable by freezing them. Some food are preservable by freezing them. Some food are preservable by freezing them. Some food is preservable in the fridge. Some food and drinks are preservable in fridge. Some food and drinks are preservable for a couple of days in the fridge. Some food and drinks are preservable in the fridge for a couple of days. Some food and drinks are preservable in the fridge. Some food are preservable by freezing them. Some food are preservable in the fridge by freezing them. Vinegar make the sushi, make the rice preservative. A little bit more. Vinegar can make the rice preservative. 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 There are some. A preservative is usually included in the snack package, and you cannot eat it. So please be careful when you eat snacks with your child. They might eat it. It cannot be eaten. It is not edible. It is preservative. A preservative is usually included in the snack package, and they cannot be eaten. So please be careful. Preservative. Vinegar can make the rice preservative. And vinegar make the rice last longer. Vinegar can make the rice last longer. Vinegar can make the rice preservative a little bit more and last longer. Vinegar can make the rice last longer a little bit more, a little bit longer. Vinegar can make the rice preservative and last a little bit longer. Preservative. I bought some preservative food for a rainy day. I bought preservative food for a rainy day. I bought some preservative food for a week amount of preservative food. I bought a week amount of preservative food for over the weekend because it's been raining over the weekend and I don't wanna go shopping in the rain. So I bought a week amount of preservative food on the weekend. I bought a week amount of preservative food yesterday so that I don't have to go for shopping in the rain. If you commit a crime, you will be punished. If you commit a crime, you will be punished. The student was punished for breaking the desk. The student was punished for violating the rule. I don't want a punishment, so I behave well. Everybody doesn't want a punishment. Everybody wants a punishment. No one wants punishment. No one wants a punishment. You look as if you had seen a ghost. You look as if you had seen a ghost. What happened? You looked as if you had seen a ghost last night. But now it's better. You look normal now. You looked as if you had seen a ghost last night. He speaks as if he knew everything. He sometimes speaks as if he knew everything. He often speaks as though he knew everything. The fortune-telling paper read that it had known everything about me. The fortune-telling paper read as if it had known everything about me. The fortune-telling paper read as if it had known everything about me. The fortune-telling paper read as if it had known everything about me. The torii gate looks as if it is floating on the sea. The torii gate looks as though it is floating on the sea. You look as if you are angry. You look as if you are angry. You look as if you are angry. Your house still looks as if it was built recently. Your house still looks as if it had been built recently. So beautiful. Your house still looks as though it had been built recently. He can speak English as if he was an English person. He can speak English as fluently as the native speaker. He can speak English fluently as if he was an English speaker. He can speak English fluently, as if he was an English speaker, native English speaker. He can speak English very well, as if he was a native English speaker. He can speak English as if he was a native English speaker. He speaks as if he knew everything. He speaks as if he were better than his boss. He speaks as if he was rich. He speaks as if he was richer than billionaire. He speaks as if he were a superstar, celebrity. He behaves as if he was a celebrity. He behaves as if he was a celebrity. Some people behave as though they were a celebrity. Some people behave as though they were a celebrity. You look as if you had seen a ghost. You look as if you had seen a ghost. You look as if you had not slept well last night. You look as if you had not slept well last night. You look as if you hadn't slept well enough last night. You look as if you had not slept well last night. Some people behave as if they were a celebrity. Some people behave as if they were a celebrity. Some people behave as though they were a celebrity. Okay, I will finish speaking here. Thank you for watching. See you next time. See you.